Hey everybody, it's me, Marco from Analog Things, and today we're gonna talk about the right Polaroid camera for you, your friends, your family or your loved ones. So let's start. I got asked a lot of times in the last few days, weeks, what's the best camera for my friend, for my family, for somebody. And I was thinking maybe it's a good idea to make a guide, like which camera fits which person, because not every camera fits everybody. There's like different uses of the Polaroid cameras, and yeah, we will talk about a few options I selected and what's the price difference and who the camera is actually for in usage-wise. Okay, so I selected 5 cameras that we will compare to each other. First one to test will be the new one from Polaroid Originals, the 1 Step 2. Newest production, pretty cool, pretty nice. Next one on the list is the Polaroid 600 camera. Also pretty nice camera, but vintage. Then we got the beautiful Polaroid SX70, an amazing camera and just great. And afterwards we got FUJI Instax Mini, which I unfortunately don't have one here, and FUJI Instax Wide. Let's start with the first camera. That's the Polaroid Originals 1 Step 2. It's really new camera on the market. It's out for 1 month, 2 months maybe. And it's a new production from Polaroid Originals. It's pretty cool. It has the basic functions, including a flash, a self-timer, aperture settings. It has a minimal focusing distance of 60 centimeters. That could be one downside of the camera. And it has one really good upside of the camera. The battery is in the camera, so you save some money on the film because you can buy the cheaper I-type camera film, which is the same as 600 film, but without a battery. So you could save some money on the film here. So one pack of film is actually 16 euros at the moment. That concludes to a price of 2 euros per image. And the camera is around 120 euros. So that's actually a pretty good deal if you're trying to shoot a lot and you want something new with a vintage design. That camera is actually pretty good, and I tested it for a few days, weeks now, and it's pretty cool and it has the basic functions and it works. Right next we have the Polaroid 600 camera. Polaroid 600 camera are original Polaroid cameras. So the only option you have is buying them used from eBay or refurbished from Polaroid Originals. The refurbished cameras from Polaroid Originals are also original Polaroid cameras that they took a look on and say they work. The problem is if you buy them from eBay or something, you really don't know if they still work, and that could be a pretty messy disaster below the Christmas tree if you give somebody a camera and it's not working. So keep that in mind. These cameras are original cameras, they can malfunction. So if you buy one on eBay and you also order some film for the cameras, which you should if you put it under the Christmas tree, buy one extra cartridge to test if the camera still works, and you can just leave it inside and already take pictures on Christmas Eve or morning. But otherwise, also a really cool camera for snapshots. It has a flash integrated, it folds really nicely, the design is pretty awesome, it's really well known. There's like different kinds of this camera, like hundreds of different versions. This one has a close-up, for example, and you can take a look at the video I did about Polaroid 600 how to, if you want to know how that camera works actually. But otherwise, also really good choice. The only downside, if you buy it used, you should really take a look first if it works. If you buy it refurbished, it should work and it should be fine. Okay, for the pricing, these things at the moment go between 5 euros, nothing on eBay, or just on your, like, maybe your grandma or grandpa, something, or parents have somebody like something like that lying around already, up to 200 euros or more even. The film price for this one is 19 euros, which concludes to a price per picture of 2.40 euro approximately. So that's a little bit more expensive than the I-type, but not too much. Next up, my favorite camera, the Polaroid SX70. This camera is not for amateurs or anybody. That's really for people who are into photography, who love photography and want to get more out of the Polaroids. The camera is amazing. It's also really cool for traveling. You can fold it up. It just looks amazing. It takes really good pictures. You can focus manually. There's an autofocus version of it. It's a classical camera, it's just a beauty, but it's absolutely the wrong camera if you just want to take snapshots of your family and friends. For this type, that camera is completely wrong. So if you have just a teenager that wants to take pictures of his friends as memories to put them next to the bed, don't get him an SX70. If he's really into photography and he loves it and everything, get him an SX70 because you can be so creative with it and do a lot more than with the 600 cameras or with the new One Step 2. So beautiful camera, but it comes with a big price tag. At the moment, since Polaroid Originals announced their name tag change from Impossible to Polaroid Originals, and since it's Christmas coming soon, the prices of these went up really. Like, you won't get anything below 150 euros, and it goes up to 500, 2000 euros for a camera. And then you're still buying it used. And the used camera can be broke. So also, if you buy an SX70, get yourself a cartridge to test the camera before you put it under the Christmas tree or pack it. Film price for these are exactly the same as for the Polaroid 600, so you don't have to worry about the price here, and the battery is always in the film. And if you want to see a tutorial about this camera, there's also one linked up here. Next up, we got the FUJI Instax Mini, which I unfortunately don't have here, because that's not a camera I use, but it's really amazing for small memories. The design is pretty cute. There's different versions from Lomo, which are a little bit more fancy design, not the childish, bubbly look. And the camera is pretty cool, and what is actually amazing about that camera is the price it comes with. So with Instax Mini, we are at the camera just at 70 euros, and a multi-pack of film, which is 40 shots, is 34 euros, which brings you to a price of 85 cents for one photo. That's really cheap. So if you just want to have small memories, I mean, the downside is Mini is like, these images are just the size of a business card. Like, in my opinion, that's too small to look at, but if you just hang them next to the bed or on the fridge or something, it's perfect. So it's the perfect snapshot camera for memories of your friends, family and everything. To scale it up a little bit, Fuji made the Instax White, which is a big, bulky camera that doesn't look too good. The new version looks a little bit different, but it's also pretty bulky. But the image is way bigger, and these cameras are around 125 euros at the moment. They're pretty good, and they're also pretty fail-safe, so it actually works most of the times. And yeah, you got some basic functions here, and that's it. So this camera comes for 125 euros. The double pack is 1850 at the moment at Amazon, and that brings us to a price tag of close below €1, which is also pretty cheap for one Polaroid. So yeah, that's the 5 basic cameras. There's also one camera announced by Lomography, which is the Instax Square, which will come out maybe this year. But I don't know how the future of this camera is gonna be, because the Instax Square takes pictures that look exactly like Polaroids from form factor, and that's what made Polaroid sue Fuji. So we will see if that camera is dead on arrival, because if Polaroid wins this lawsuit, we're gonna be left with a camera that has no film. So let's see what the future brings. It was actually a Kickstarter project, I pledged for it, so I will get one of these cameras and do a review in the future, but we will see. So let's get to the conclusion. Which camera should you get for who? Well, if you have somebody that just wants to take snapshots of the family, what do you buy for them? Instax Mini. If it's just like little snapshots, small ones, buy this camera. But otherwise, if you don't want to use a magnifying glass to look at the pictures, you should probably get something that has a little bit more style, and that would be the Polaroid Originals One Step 2 in my opinion. That's a camera that you can just order new now, you have a warranty, it just should work. I mean, it could always be that there's a failure in production, but this camera should work and it's pretty cool, and I kind of like it. The design is also vintage, and I think somebody would really like this camera. And you have a self-timer, so you can take a picture of yourself on the first date. And you can save some money on the film here. If you have somebody that's really into photography and you want to invest a little bit more money, this beauty. Just a beautiful Polaroid SX70. It's just an amazing camera, and if you really want to make somebody happy with a Polaroid camera, get one of these. Just a little hint at the end, development times still are a little bit different. The Polaroid Originals film takes up to 10 minutes of development. Fuji Instax film just takes about 1 to 2 minutes. And the colors of the Polaroid film are a little bit more vivid and living in my opinion. Fuji is really cold, it's kind of a passport photo look, so it's different. You can take a look at some sample pictures, I maybe show some up here, but in the end these cameras are all pretty good. Get a camera for Christmas, get a camera for yourself, which which you think fits yourself the most, then you should be ready to go and take pictures on Christmas, or maybe go outside and take pictures. If you want to learn more about creative techniques that work with Polaroid film, you can check out my older videos. There is like the Polaroid lift and the Polaroid transparency, which are amazing techniques to work creative. If you want to have more content, hit subscribe, and I'm so thankful that I'm already over 1,000 subscribers. That's so amazing, and you guys are really nice, and I hope to continue this channel and bring you nice videos. Next one will be a little bit more tough and higher on the level, but I think you will like it. Okay, have a nice one. Bye!